This is The Courage to Live, a podcast from the Child Neurology Foundation's Willow and Wind grief community. I'm Kathy Levins. If you've ever lost someone or experienced grief, this podcast is for you. Come and sit with us as we talk about what it really feels like, how it changes us, and how we make the choice to continue alongside of it. Through conversations, stories, and reflection, we're creating room for the parts of grief that often go unspoken. Thank you for being here. Willow and Wind is Child Neurology Foundation's grief support program. It was created to honor both the tenderness of loss and the strength found in remembrance. The name comes from one simple image: a willow tree in the wind. A willow is rooted, but it is not rigid. It bends. It carries what it carries, and it adapts without breaking. That is why the willow has long been connected to grief and enduring love. It reflects what many people learn quickly about grief: that we do not get to choose the weather, but we keep finding ways to stand in it. The wind is part of that same picture. Wind represents change and movement, the unseen currents of memory, emotion, and healing. It's the part of grief that can shift without warning. A day can feel steady and then a moment, or a date and everything moves again. That's why it's Willow and Wind together, not one or the other, because grief can be rooted and shifting at the same time. This matters deeply in our community. For families who have lost a child to a neurologic or seizure-related condition, grief is deep, complex, and often hard to explain, even to people who care about you. This podcast sits inside that larger Willow and Wind community on purpose. It's meant to be an ongoing place for real stories and practical support for families who are living alongside grief and for those who love them. When you hear the words Willow and Wind, what comes up for you? No perfect answer is needed. Just notice what's there. Today, I am truly honored to introduce Kim Hendry, someone I'm grateful to call a friend and who serves as the executive director of the Child Neurology Foundation. Kim is both a professional and a parent of 2 children with neurologic conditions. She brings a depth of understanding to this work that is both personal and powerful. The lived experience as a mother, advocate, and a leader has shaped a compassionate, informed approach to leadership, one that is rooted in the challenges and victories that families face every day. Kim's perspective has strengthened Child Neurology Foundation's commitment to ensuring that every family has access to resources, support, and a sense of community where they feel seen, supported, and empowered. I'm grateful for the opportunity to welcome Kim today. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Kathy. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And I wanted to just take a moment to discuss why Willow and Wind. Why did we start this podcast? And what can you expect from this podcast this next year? So at CNF, we have consistently walked alongside families through some of the most complex and fragile moments of their lives. And over the years, one truth became very, very impossible to ignore. And that is, while there's growing support for families during diagnosis, treatment, and caregiving, there's far less space for families after loss. Grief often arrives quietly. Too often, families are left to carry it alone. Through the years of CNF hosting family support specialist courses, CNF has had the privilege of learning directly from families and advocates across rare disease communities. And in nearly every course, we heard stories of loss. Loss due to medical complications and loss related to something many outside these communities have never heard of before, which is sudden unexpected death and epilepsy. And while rare, by definition, it felt heartbreakingly common within our community. Again and again, families shared not only how they lost their children, but how isolated they felt afterward. And they were unsure if there was still a place for them once the caregiving ended. And CNF recognized the need for this dedicated, grief centered space to say clearly and without hesitation, you still belong here. Your child still matters. Their life continues to be honored through you. So, supporting families across the lifespan means showing up not only in moments of advocacy and hope, but it also means that we're showing up in moments of grief and remembrance. Willow and Wind grew directly out of listening to parents who wanted their children remembered. They wanted their stories spoken aloud and their grief held without being rushed or softened. So, in this space here on our Willow and Wind podcast, you can expect honesty. You can expect hard conversations. You can expect grief to be named for what it is. It's enduring, it is complicated, it is deeply human, and you can expect hope. Not the kind that offers easy answers, but the kind that exists alongside loss. So we are extremely honored to welcome Brad to this podcast. Brad is a certified counselor, just as importantly, a dad to a child with complex healthcare needs. For years, he has walked alongside families in our community. So he's not an unfamiliar face. He has led thousands of caregivers through CNF courses and continuing to support them long after the sessions have ended. Brad understands these journeys from both a professional and a deeply personal space. He knows the weight of advocacy, the exhaustion of caregiving, the moments of joy that take your breath away, and also the grief that can arrive unexpectedly and linger quietly. That dual perspective allows him to meet families exactly where they are with empathy, steadiness, and care. What sets Brad apart is that he's always the first to show up. Whether celebrating milestones or sitting with someone in their hardest moments, he walks alongside others without trying to fix or rush their experience. His presence reminds us that no one has to carry this alone. So grateful to call Brad a friend, a mentor, and we are so very grateful for you, for your heart, your passion, the way you continue to hold space for our community. So, welcome, Brad.
Wow, Kim, thanks for that introduction. When you put all those things together, I think in a nutshell, what you just said is that I'm pretty old, with lots of experience, both good and bad. And I want everyone to know that I am just humbled and honored to sit in this space with you. And for most of you, I will tell you up front that I have not been in the space that you occupy. And that creates a great sense in me of just humility and a desire to just listen and hear your story, because everyone's journey, while they may hold some similarities, everyone's journey is unique and deeply, deeply personal. And I want you to know that I just hold the space of an honored observer to your grief and to the child that you have lost, and trying to create a space that honors them and you as you continue your journey. As Kim said, I am a licensed professional counselor with about 35 years of experience working with families. My wife Karen and I have been married for 39 years, actually 39 years Friday, this past Friday. And so again, I'm old. We have two adult children, including Haley, who's 36 and has a broad range of special health care needs. Our experiences with her actually drove us to start specializing in serving families like ours and yours, establishing the Haley Project, named after her in 1999. I've been connected with CNF in some form or fashion since 2015, creating and leading caregiver support training since 2018. I'm honored to uh, walk alongside you. And during some of our sessions, we will do some teaching. We will explore how we can move along the journey, not having to choose between missing and sadness and pushing forward with life, but rather we'll consider how we can allow weight to fall on both sides of those rails, both missing and remembering our loved one, and reshaping life around the next chapters, not trying to move ahead and just keep going, but creating chapters of life that honor and remember them. I believe that your story's not finished, and I want to encourage you to live out a life that honors the kids that you have lost, as well as the children that many of you have who are continuing to try to struggle along in the journey itself. We will also encourage you to do some writing. I know many of us thought we were finished with that kind of thing when we got out of school, but mental health experts tell us that doing this is the greatest thing we can do for our well-being. And so these writings will of course be voluntary, but will all be meant to help connect you with memories and meaning in the life of your children and your families. And while we have teaching planned, uh, there will always be it's secondary, and the space will always be created to talk, to cry, to laugh, and to remember with a group of people who get it. And that is what is at the core of this community. I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to sharing a little piece of life with you. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of yours.
Next, we're going to introduce our grief ambassadors. These are parents who have been walking this journey, some for a long time, some for a short period of time, all on their own paths. And so I am first going to introduce Blake Fish. Blake is mom to Bentley, and she is going to give a brief introduction and talk a little bit about um, her journey and Bentley.
Well, thank you for that, Kim. I'm honored to be here. Um, my name is Blake. I'm Bentley's mom. I was a stay-at-home mom to Bentley until he did pass. But now I'm a teacher assistant. Um, Bentley was very small, but he was mighty. He was the kind of child that didn't need words to leave a mark. Just his presence filled the room's hearts and everybody who knew him and memories now. Bentley was born with a rare condition called Gervais syndrome. It is a severe form of epilepsy. And from the very beginning, our life looked completely different. We had hospital stays, medications, seizures, nights where we didn't sleep because we were listening, always listening to our SAMI camera. That was what we used to monitor his seizures. Um, but Bentley was never defined by his diagnosis. He loved with his whole body. Every ounce of Bentley was love, and you could see that just by looking at him. His laugh, it was the kind that made you forget anything. If we had a seizure 30 minutes ago and he was back up laughing, it was almost like it was trying to cure what we just went through. He loved comfort, routine, and and people. So like my parents and us and his other grandparents on his dad's sides, we were his comfort. He was deeply and profoundly loved, but on January 11th was when our world stopped. And that was January 11th of this year, 2025. Bentley passed away, and with him went the version of life that I thought I would always have. The future I imagined in that moment disappeared in an instant. One moment I was his mom, managing seizures, advocating, and surviving. And the next I was a grieving mother learning how to breathe in a world where my child no longer existed physically. I'm now almost a year into my grief journey, and I wish I could tell you that it gets easier, but the truth is grief doesn't shrink. You just learn how to carry it. Some days I carry it quietly, some days it knocks the wind out of me, and some days I'm strong, and some days I can barely even get out of bed. Grief shows up in strange ways: panic over the small things, attachment to memories others might not understand, sudden waves of longing that came out of nowhere. It's loving someone so deeply that your body doesn't even know how to exist without them. But here's what I've learned in almost a year without my Bentley. Love doesn't end, my motherhood didn't end, and our connection doesn't end. Bentley is still with me, in signs, in moments, and in ways my heart reacts to the smallest little reminders of him. He changed me forever, and while I don't choose this path, I will continue to walk it carrying his name, his story, and his legacy. Because Bentley mattered, he still matters, and I will spend my life making sure the world always knows Bentley. And that was a little introduction about Bentley, but more to talk on Bentley. He was seriously, like, I don't know how else to explain it, but the life. Like, he was just life to us. He was everything we wanted him to be and more. Um, but losing him has been the most traumatic and tragic thing that I have ever been through in my life. I'm only 24 years old, so I've never experienced death like I have with my own child. I've had, of course, a great aunt pass away. I've had a few friends that's passed away unexpectedly, but I've never actually had it happen to me where it was as close as Bentley was to me. So that's been a milestone to navigate for sure. But I'm here. I showed up today, so that's all that matters.
It is. Thank you, Blake, so much. We will hear more about Blake's journey throughout this season of the podcast. So, next, I'm going to introduce Phil and Courtney Collins, and they are going to talk a little bit about Lucas and how they are living like Lucas every single day. So, Phil and Courtney.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks.
Yes. So I am Phil Collins, and this is my wife.
I'm Courtney Collins.
And we are the parents to Lucas Collins, who we lost on February 9th of 2025. And through this last year, seeing different memories pop up on our phones of just where Lucas was at, or where, what we remember from a year ago has been both jarring and joyful all at the same time. Lucas was born with a rare genetic malformation called HNRNPU. And basically, Lucas had epilepsy, developmental delays. He had hypotonia, low muscle tone. He was diagnosed with autism. And as those can all sound like disabilities, really what they were Lucas's superpowers.
Yeah.
And so, as Kim mentioned a second ago, the live like Lucas, what that means to us is to be loving, to be unashamed, to be courageous, to be authentic, and to be sensational. And Lucas embodied all of those things, and he did that because doctors said he would never walk, and he ran. Doctors said he would never talk, and he told his mom and dad that he loved them. Lucas would walk into a room, and that was his room. It didn't matter who was in charge or what was going on. In a sweet, loving way, he would steal the attention. His laugh was infectious. His smile was beautiful. His hugs were incredible. He made you feel seen. He made you feel loved, and he made you feel like you were the most important person. We spent a lot of time in Lucas's 6 years of life in hospitals and in doctors' offices, trying to figure out what we could do to advocate best for him, answering so many questions, educating doctors on Lucas's specific needs and conditions and what we saw, and doing everything that we could do as just being his parents and not being medical trained professionals, and trying to figure out how to give him the best quality of life possible. There were some days where we felt like we were doing a great job in that, and some days where we felt like our hands were tied and there was nothing that we could do to continue to support, his quality of life, because so much of it was out of our hands. The type of seizures that Lucas had varied, a lot of absent seizures, but also a lot of tonic-clonic seizures where Lucas would stop breathing and for minutes on end, and it was really terrifying. Um, and in the end, it was sudden death and epilepsy that took Lucas's life on February 9th of this year.
Yeah, so along with being advocates for Lucas, which is what we have known for 6 years, we also have 3 daughters. So we are going through this grief journey, not just grieving as Lucas's parents, but helping to learn how to walk this grief journey with his big sisters. He has 3 older sisters, 14, almost 13, and almost 10. And I think one of the most profound privileges that we have is to sit in this grief, not only with each other, but with our girls. Um, I've never lost a sibling, and I don't know what it's like. And we've never lost a child outside of Lucas and a miscarriage that we had early on. But this has been, we are learning. We're learning how to do this. This time of year, with celebrating our first holidays without Bubba, and trying to figure out, how do we navigate this? Do we do the same traditions? Do we make new traditions? Do we say forget it all? Um, we're learning, and we're excited that we get to share what we have learned, but then learned from this community as well, because we don't know what we're doing. We're just trying every day to live in a way that honors Lucas's life, because even though he was in pain, much more than we probably even realized, he always had a big smile on his face. He was always joyful. And that comes just from the spirit of who he was. And we had the honor of being his parents. We are still his parents. And so we are advocating for other children and other families who are being misdiagnosed, or are afraid of a diagnosis, or have just received tragic news, because there's joy that can be found in all of it. And you don't figure that out until you're going through it. And so we're excited to be a part of that journey with y'all, and to continue to learn in this journey for us. Thank you, Phil and Courtney. We are honored to have you both here. And, I can honestly say, even in this short time knowing you, I've learned even more about how to live like Lucas. So greatly appreciate you being here. And next, I'm going to introduce Kathy. And I will not do as good of a job introducing her as she has done for me, but Kathy is a longtime friend, member of the LGS community, does so much work in this space, is also a certified grief counselor. So she is able to offer both personal and professional expertise here on this podcast. So, Kathy, super excited to learn from you. While you've been on this grief journey longer um, than us, we are super excited to learn that grief just continues, right? And it continues in various forms over time. And so, really, really looking forward to hearing your perspective. Welcome, Kathy.
Thanks, Kim. I would just want to say I feel so privileged to be here with Blake and Philip and Courtney, because I'm just always so amazed at the resilience of those who experience this profound loss, because it is one of the deepest losses you will ever experience in your life if you have to go through learning how to live again after you lose a child. So, and for me, personally, it's been 21 years now. Like, wow, I can't even believe it's been that long. My grief journey started back in 2005 with the loss of my second oldest son, Eric. And it's expanded in ways that I could have never imagined. As a mother to my 4 beautiful sons, I have 4 beautiful sons, my life has been shaped by not only the profound love that I shared with them, but also the profound loss of 3 of them. I the passing of my 3 sons have, their lives still continue to guide me to this day as I support others, through grief, if they're brought across my path to do that. I am a certified grief educator, but I always say that this experience, this work chose me. I certainly did not choose it. And it's all based in lived experience, deep compassion, and my own, personal healing process that I've been through over the years. And what I want people to know is that about my children, my sons who passed, is that, and even my son Brian, who's still living, is that they love fully. They lived fully. They loved big. They laughed all the time. They teased endlessly, and they lived with no regrets. That is one thing I always said. We should all live like this. That choice still matters, and it lives across alongside the grief that I carry. My son Matthew was my third son. He lived with Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, and he passed away 3 days just before his 18th birthday due to SUDEP. Again, that elusive SUDEP. My son Eric passed 2 days just after turning 20 in a car accident while he was at college. And then my son Jacob, who was my baby, showed me so much extraordinary strength and resilience for 11 years while he was navigating Ewing's sarcoma, something that he wanted to manage himself and be the decider on everything that he had to go through in the treatment of that. But he passed at the age of 21 in 2019. But their spirits and their humor remain at the heart of everything I do. They are still with me. And I can tell you that over time, grief has surprised me in so many ways. And I learned that I didn't have to fight it to survive, because in the beginning, all I did was want to fight it. I just didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to look at it. It was too much to carry. But I learned that I could live alongside it. It could become an unlikely companion. It was one of the greatest lessons that grief taught me, is that we can have emotion, and there could be dual things existing in one moment, that we could hold sorrow and joy, and we can have pain and gratitude, and we can have laughter and longing all at one time. And I'm here with all of you because I care deeply about the power of honest conversation about grief, resilience, and the ways we continue to live meaningful lives after this deep loss. So I thank you all for allowing me to be here to share my heart, my story, and the love that I carry for my sons.
Thank you, Kathy. So, one of the things that we will talk about moving forward is some common themes that we hear throughout our grief journeys, whether your grief is new or whether you've been on this grief journey for a long time. What are some commonalities, do you think, Kathy, Phil, Courtney, and Blake, that you have heard in each other's stories as you've gotten to know each other a little bit more over the past year?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in. The main commonality, and I think you all heard it here today, is that our children live lives that were short or shorter than we would have liked them to be, but they lived them with purpose and with joy. And that is what goes long past their passing with us. And that's how their stories live on, is that we don't remember. I hardly ever think about the hard times. I think about a lot of those moments of just snuggling with Lucas, or laughing with him, or chasing him around in a public place. Like, I get to go to choir concerts and basketball games and things like that now, and I don't get to chase Lucas around, and I wish that I could. And I think about those moments, and I feel like, you know, that's what maybe a lot of us went through, is you went through some really hard times, having to go to doctor's appointments, having to watch them struggle. And we remember those times, but we carry their legacy by remembering what they taught us, and remembering their resilience, which gave us resilience. We had to learn how to navigate, even before Lucas passed, giving almost 100% attention to him, and not being able to give that to our daughters. And so I think that commonality is in our stories, is really just how wonderful our kids were.
And at the same time, even being the spouse of someone who is feeling that way, I often replay the awful things, the bad things, the seizures. I replay the day that he died in my mind. over and over and over again. And I think that that's part of this journey too, is giving each other, whether it's the same family or a friend, um, another child, the space, sorry, to feel and experience what they need to in that moment, and to be okay with it, to not have to fix things. Um, all of us that have lost children, no matter how it happened, or what the circumstances were surrounding it, um, I wish there had been something that I could have done. And I think that that is, there are emotions that go along with that, guilt or shame or what have you. And then we are able to enter into a space with other families and other moms and dads and brothers and sisters, um, and share that burden so that we don't have to carry it alone. Um, because there's not anything that I could have done. And I have to be okay with that too, because we fought for him his whole life. And he lived his life so beautifully. And I sit with the idea that he finished his journey, and I'm still here taking mine one day at a time. And so there's different parts of grief, even within the same family. And I think that that's one beautiful gift that we get from a community like this.
Excuse me. One that I see a lot with interacting with Phil, Courtney, and Kathy, and even you, Kim, and you, Brad, is we're fighters. And our fight didn't stop when Kathy's sons died, or when Lucas died, or when Bentley died. Our fight is still here. And that's something that really touches me every time I come on and I get to speak with you guys, is I get to see not only my fight shine through, but Philip and Courtney's fight for Lucas still shine through, and Kathy for her boys. And that touches me a lot.
It's hard to add to that, but I think one thing that I see as a common thing is that, the bond of love is strong. And it really lives on through them and through you. And, the whole process that you go through to be okay with that, it's just incredible how strong love is to me. I mean, that's what I see in all these years as I've done this and in my own walk.
I think that is something that has been truly evident over the last 6 months, is that love is so large, for lack of better words. It is huge um, amongst all of us. And when we come together as a community, it almost illuminates love even more, which is bringing their lives. It's shining a light on them, and it's making sure that they are always remembered and continue to be loved, no matter where they are at this point in time. So, thank you all for being here. We are going to talk about many, many difficult topics over the coming months. This podcast will air the second Wednesday of every month. But before we close out today, I'm actually going to let Brad end with the final words on what Willow and Wynn hopes to offer moving forward throughout this next year. So this year in 2026, we will have 12 episodes, and we will talk about many, many different topics. So Brad, I will let you take it away from here.
Well, thank you, Kim. Again, I'm honored, and I want everybody who sees this to know that I look forward to the opportunity to meet you, to teach you some things, hopefully to encourage you and create a safe space. But most of all, I hope that you will allow us the opportunity to hear you and to hear your story and to be a witness to it as you continue this life with grief and with all of the emotions that come with it as part of being in this Willow and Wind community. As part of this community, we're going to make available to you confidential individual counseling sessions. If there's ever a need for that, or something about your journey that you want to talk about but aren't ready to share in a group setting, I'm telling you here, I'm signing up for that. Okay. And will be honored to sit in that space with you, even if it's just to cry with you, to laugh with you, again, to just hear your story. So I want to thank you in advance for allowing me to join you in this truly, truly sacred space. And my prayer is that you will find hope and peace as you take the next steps along the journey.
Just a reminder that you can find more on Willow and Wind at childneurologyfoundation.org. And we will have an online community as well. There is a Facebook group that launches January 1st, 2026, as well as some community sessions that are also offered that you can sign up for as well on our learning portal page. So, in closing, I'd just like to say that we thank each and every one of you for being here. It's never easy. This life isn't easy, but together as a community, we can walk this journey together. And like the willow, we bend. Like the wind, we keep moving. Our love remains. Thank you for joining us today.